ABC 7 News at 4 on your side.
The manner of death, deemed a homicide, is believed to be the result of a fatal injury that occurred while Mr. Gray was unrestrained by his seatbelt in the custody of the Baltimore Police Department wagon. We have brought the following charges: the second-degree Braveheart murder, involuntary manslaughter, misconduct in office.
Justice for Baltimore, yes!
The process had started. They'd never seen a victory. And they had begun to believe that the system could not work for them.
People have been suffering too long in the hands of the police.
No one is above the law in our city. There will be justice for Mr. Gray. There will be justice for his family. And there will be justice for the people of Baltimore.
A stunning day of developments in Baltimore.
Just hours ago, the city's top prosecutor announcing Freddie Gray's death has been ruled a homicide and that 6 officers have been charged in connection to Gray's death.
The state's attorney also saying Gray had been arrested illegally. The officers' charges including second-degree depraved heart murder, involuntary manslaughter, and false imprisonment. Let's get right to our Leon Harris. He is live in Baltimore right now. Leon?
Hey guys, can you try talking?
Leon, we're going to get to Leon in just a second, though. Right now, we do want to get to the rest of our team coverage of this case, including community reaction and more about the officers being charged.
We begin with our Maryland Bureau Chief Brad Bell. He's been in Baltimore from the very beginning and first told us about Gray being injured inside that police transport van. Brad, what a day.
Quite a day, and the events continue. We've now come to the Maryland African American History Museum because in just a little while we're going to hear at this location from Freddie Gray's family. Yesterday, we told you exclusively here on ABC 7 News some of the details of the medical examiner's findings with regard to the death of Freddie Gray, that there were severe injuries caused in the back of that police van, that he was sent flying headfirst into the wall, that his neck was broken. Well, today it was enough for the state's attorney, in conjunction with her own investigation and the police investigation, to levy charges against all 6 officers who had contact with Freddie Gray back on April 12th. She says there were a series of crimes committed from the outset. First, there was no probable cause to arrest Freddie Gray in the first place. And then, when he started to go into medical distress from his rough handling, medical aid was denied, and then he was put in the back of that van, given essentially what they call in West Baltimore a rough ride. He died of injuries typical of what you would see in an automobile accident. So today the state's attorney filed serious charges against all 6 officers, ranging from second-degree depraved heart murder to assault to misconduct in office. She says now the justice system has to be allowed to work in peace.
I don't want anybody to be confused. No. That the issues of police and community is one part of a broader set of issues. Yeah. Our children need to be properly educated.
Yes.
They need to be trained in certain areas so they can get jobs.
Yeah. To those that are angry, hurt, or have their own experiences of injustice at the hands of police officers, I urge you to channel the energy peacefully as we prosecute this case.
All right, well, what we heard from there was Representative Elijah Cummings first. He's the man who represents and has for 30 years in the state legislature and then in Congress represented that West Baltimore neighborhood. He spoke first there, reacting to Marilyn Mosby. Marilyn Mosby is who you heard next, state's attorney, asking essentially for peace. Now, we'll be here and talk to you again at 5 o'clock when we expect to hear from Freddie Gray's family reacting to these charges brought as a result of his death. Leon, how things looking up on Pennsylvania North?
That's right, Brad. We are right here at Pennsylvania North Avenue where we were just about 48 hours or so ago, and it's a completely different scene here now. You heard the state's attorney calling for people to channel their emotions peacefully. Well, where we are right now, there's lots of emotion, and it does seem to be taking hold quite, it's peaceful, but it's emotional at the same time. This scene here, as you can see across the street, are people who are just on the sidewalk just hanging out. It's almost like a block party's going on. You can hear some of the music in the background, and meanwhile, just across the street from them, you can see the police who are just standing there lined up outside of that check cashing place that we saw being looted just a couple of days ago. This scene here was where most of the violence was played out, and a lot of the looting and the burning that we saw, and as you can see here now, a completely different scene. As a matter of fact, turn right around here, Rich, and catch these guys. Traffic's coming down North Avenue here, and as you can see here, there are folks here with their car trunks open, music blasting, waving signs, and getting people to honk as they come rolling by. Hang on, here comes a tractor trailer. It might get a little loud here, but as you can see, it's a completely different scene than it was here. The calls for peace seem to have been taken hold here. People here are celebrating what they heard to this morning, and that surprise announcement and revelation that the state's attorney has determined that Freddie Gray's death was a homicide. So the reaction still playing out here very, very positively, very festively. Suzanne Kennedy has been here since this morning when that announcement was made. Suzanne, I'm betting you've seen the same kind of reactions throughout this area, haven't you?
Leon, it has changed progressively throughout the day. We're also at this intersection. You can see behind me there still is a significant crowd here, people gathering, people mingling, people talking about what has happened today. I want to take you back a little bit into the day, and you can see that there were police officers here throughout the morning. They moved in around 10 o'clock this morning. Lots of them flanked both sides of the street. Pennsylvania State Troopers, Maryland State Troopers, and Baltimore City police officers. Cars moved through the area. They were honking. They were celebrating. People raising their fists in the air in a sense of celebration and a sense of joy at the announcement that was made at 10:30 this morning. People here feeling a giant sense of relief after what has been an incredibly stressful week. And here's what a few people told me this morning as news of the police officers' charges were announced.
The people are happy. A lot of frustration has been released, just through this decision. So they don't have to worry about the riots anymore. They don't have to worry about that because justice has been served.
The police have gotten away with a lot, and I just believe that this time maybe everyone has made their point clear that they're tired of it.
Different situation here. As you can see, there's a Baltimore City police officer. He is directing traffic. You can see in his left hand he has his protective helmet. Obviously 4 or 5 days ago he was wearing that and certainly not directing traffic. Right here you see a gentleman who has got his fist in the air in celebration of what has happened today. Very interesting day here at the epicenter of this week's events. Back to you, Leon.
All right, Suzanne. Now, I'm sure you're hearing the same kind of comments that we're hearing through the crowd here. People here is feeling there's cause to celebrate because they feel in their minds that finally the police are going to be held accountable. The police, on the other hand, though, are going to have their own response to what happened today with the announcement of these charges. Let's go right now to a press conference. The Fraternal Order of Police, who has already said that they believe that the police officers here did nothing wrong.
I have not interviewed or spoken to anyone involved at the medical examiner's office, so I can't even comment on something like that.
The Baltimore Police Commissioner said he did an exhaustive investigation and really it's ongoing. What elements are not complete in your mind?
Until we see what they've done, I can't answer that. I can't speculate as to what they did or didn't do. I just find it very difficult that it's not a rush to judgment when conducting a case in which someone has been charged with second-degree murder, they can wrap it up in 2 weeks. That's all I can say. Until I see the investigative file, until we get the discovery in this case, I can't answer that question.
President Ryan, can you speak to the mood of the officers? There's been reports that officers, the morale is very low, there's criticism of the mayor. Can you speak to the mood of the officers and how they're doing in crime fight?
Like I said, I'm sure they're disappointed. I haven't been out and talked with them yet to see exactly what the mood is. Without a doubt, I can tell you they're not happy. I mean, this is going to, this decision to charge them officers is going to make our job even harder. I can say that.
Mr. Daly, this morning, the state's attorney said that the knife that was found on Freddie Gray was legal. It wasn't spring action. It wasn't a switchblade. You said, quote, a week ago, had he not had a knife or an illegal weapon on him, he would have been released after the proper paperwork.
All right, that's the Fraternal Order of Police who are now speaking to the press. They're answering to the questions about the police officers involved here and what may happen to them next. Right now, let's get more insight on those officers and the charges that they're going to be facing. Stephen Cheetah has more on that for us right now. Stephen?
Yeah, we have been out here in front of the Baltimore City Jail for hours, monitoring this secure entrance to the jail as vehicles would come and go. We do now understand that all 6 of these officers are here at the jail awaiting processing and formal charging. But I want to tell you, a few minutes ago, a number of people, religious groups, came through here. They were demonstrating right here. We still have a lot of police. They showed up moments afterward, after this protest began, and then the protesters moved away. Still police here. Among those demonstrating, Sabrina Fulton, the mother of Trayvon Martin, the young man who was killed in Sanford, Florida a couple of years ago during an altercation with a security guard. She spoke out about these charges against these 6 officers.
That is not a conviction. We have to keep that in mind. So although we are celebrating and we're hopeful that something will stick, that they will be able to stay in jail and they will be able to be accountable for killing this young man.
Now, among the religious leaders who were speaking here, who were addressing the crowd, one of them said that this is not a black and white issue. This is a policing issue. And he pointed up to the barbed wire to this jail and said this is a major step, in his opinion, in rectifying some of the injustice, some of the unfairness that has been perpetrated on members of the community here in D.C. by police officers over the years. Back to you, Leon.
All right, thank you, Stephen. And boy, things are really starting to pick up over here at Pennsylvania North Avenue. People are coming out here dancing around. They've got kids out here dancing in the middle of the street. You know that's a little dangerous, don't you? Dancing in the middle of the street with some kids? You guys you acting like you won the Super Bowl here. Is that what it feels like?
That's what it feels like. It feels good to be out here, know that, these cops are going to have to serve, that justice has been served. They haven't been convicted yet. This is only the first step, but we here.
Yeah.
We here.
Yes, you are. You are here. And this is only a first step, as they say here, but everyone believes that finally, for people who have felt like they have been oppressed so badly and for so long by this police department here, they're now feeling that this city is taking a step in the right direction. We'll be back with more later in the hour. Allison and Scott, back to you.
Okay, we'll see you soon, Leon. Thank you very much. Now, we want to tell you more about the Baltimore City State's Attorney, Marilyn Mosby.
Yeah, Mosby, who's 35 years old. She's been on the job for months, 4 months only. And according to her biography, she's the youngest chief prosecutor of any major city in America.
Mosby is married to a Baltimore City councilman, lives just blocks from that community where Monday's riots broke out following Freddie Gray's funeral. So, of course, we are receiving lots of comments from you about this case on our ABC7 Facebook page.
Yeah, many of you responded to a question that we posted asking, how do you think Baltimore's chief prosecutor has handled the Freddie Gray case? Debbie wrote, she's doing what she should, holding the position she holds. I have a lot of respect for her, and she is a great model.
But Dan responded she rushed to charge to appease a mob and to get the National Guard out of that city.
And Christian wrote, the case isn't over. Don't go handing praise until it's all said and done. You, of course, can join this conversation by going on our ABC7 Facebook page.
And we're going to check back in with our Horace Holmes in just a moment with the very latest on what's going on there in Baltimore today. A lot more to cover for you in the coming hours.